No Chill Sports is an unapologetic, high-energy sports show where opinions fly fast and facts hit hard. The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the hosts and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of any affiliated networks, sponsors, or partners. Content may include passionate debates, bold predictions, and unfiltered takes that some viewers may find intense or controversial. Listener discretion is advised. If you're looking for chill, this ain't the place.
Hey, welcome back to another hot episode of Welcome to the Rant with Pough Ant, where the mics stay hot, the takes are bold, and the truth is unfiltered. No scripts, just two voices bringing the heat with heart, real, raw, and unapologetically honest. What's good with you, my boy?
Man, what's good, dog? Been a great week, man.
Excellent weekend. I'm riding a high. I'm excited. We're gonna talk about it later on the Bayou recap, but LSU got the win in the College World Series. But the person we about to talk to, man, I've been looking forward to this. Oh man, I've been looking forward to having this conversation. Family friend, Mobile legend, Tennessee legend. I don't care what nobody say, all time great in my opinion. But your favorite quarterback. How about that? We'll go with that. But let's go ahead and get started, man. Let's give a shout out to our sponsors over at Dubby. Dubby is a powdered energy drink aimed at gamers and individuals seeking focus and energy. It's known for its clean ingredients, no jitters, and various flavors. Dubby is also available in a hydration formula for those needing electrolytes. Dubby achieves a smooth, effective focus with a high-end tasting experience while using no sugars, no fillers, no artificial colors or dyes. Try Dubby today by scanning the QR code on screen or visit them on the website at bit.ly/NoChillDubby. Dubby, your taste buds' favorite energy drink. Without further ado, I ain't gonna need to hold them long. I'm gonna just go ahead and get to it. Had to bring him on the show. Our good friend, Ravens quarterback coach and 1998 national championship quarterback, none other than T. Martin. T,
what's going on, family? What's good, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
What's going on,
great, man?
I'm good, man. Appreciate y'all getting me on today.
No, thank you. Before we get started, tell Lamar he can answer my tweets and stuff. No, just
man, that dude busy. You know how he do.
Yeah, but thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Looking forward to having you on. When we first talked about having you on, I was like, this is somebody who has gone through recruiting process. This is somebody who has I say going through the recruiting process as a recruit, as a coach, and as a parent.
Yeah.
This is somebody who has, as Rail says, Navajo legend. Has carried the reins for a city and everything. How do you deal with, I guess, the pressure of just, just carrying a city on your back?
Yeah, so for the most part, man, I never really felt pressure per se. It's always just been, love of the game, just working hard and just letting it just play out. like you said, Navico days, man. Really kind of stumbled on playing at Navico. I had just moved to the neighborhood, and I went up to the park, just kind of watching your dad coach a team, and I wasn't on the team, didn't even know anybody in the neighborhood, and held me back to at the end of that practice and asked me if he could ask my mom if I could play, and she said yes, and man, that's when it kind of really started with your dad and Navico Park. So I never really saw the game as like gotta play it to get out the hood, gotta play it to be somebody. You know, football was just something I did. That's why I'm still able to enjoy it. You know, it was never life or death for me. It was more about the love of the game, having fun while you play, having fun while you coach. There's so many blessings that football has brought to my life that when I was a college coach and now even a professional coach, I just want to give back to the generation of quarterbacks. You know, that's why I do what I do.
So obviously, most people know you from Tennessee. What made you decide to go to Tennessee, and what was your recruiting process like?
Yeah, so man, recruiting process was wild. It really started. It was like a 4-year process. I became a starter my freshman year in high school. I was 14 years old, and pretty much started. That season was ended short because of an injury I had. Broke my hand right before the playoffs, so that kind of shortened my season. But that summer I went to Auburn summer camp, Alabama summer camp, and pretty much did a good job at both places. Got offers by both places, and was just kind of like new to the process. Really, I ain't really knew what that meant for real. Like I knew I was a good player. I had played as a freshman, but it wasn't really like on my mind all the time about being recruited. And then my sophomore year, I only played like 4 games. Ended up having knee surgery. That cut my season short. So I was kind of like forgotten about, but not being talked about a whole lot. But then going into my junior year was when everything really kicked off. I really had a full healthy season. Went out and led the team to second, third round of the playoffs. Did really well. Started getting some national accolades and state accolades. And that's really when it got kind of ramped up, where more national schools started reaching out, writing letters. I took 5 visits, one to Notre Dame, Nebraska, SMU, Auburn, and Tennessee. Those schools. And up to that point, I was really thinking about VCU. And my dad played at Mississippi Valley State. All of my coaches, my upbringing was all HBCU coaches, like my little league coaches, my high school coaches. And that's all I really, up until that point, was really HBCU football. I was a big fan of HBCU football. HBCU football was ahead of its time. Like pretty much the way that they're down was how they were playing the 70s and 80s. And so I was a big fan of that, big fan of Steve McNair, Kendrick Nord, which from my high school played at Grambling. So that's what my focus was until I started getting like national offers and had a chance to really play in front of a national crowd, so on and so forth. And that's when the decision to go to Tennessee kind of became my decision because not only did I want to play on national television, but I wanted to go somewhere who ball and had like a balanced attack on offense. I didn't want to go to this option offense. You know, Nebraska was an option at the time with Tommy Frazier. I didn't want to play in that system. I really didn't want to play in a system that put it all on the quarterback. I wanted to go somewhere that it was balanced. I felt like at Tennessee that we had a good run game, a good pass game. It was taught the right way under David Cutcliffe. Peyton was there. I felt like, hey man, good person to learn with, and then replace when he leaves. And all factors combined, it wasn't too far from home. It was like a 7-hour drive, so it wasn't too bad. So put together was the reason why I chose Tennessee ultimately. And I felt comfortable. I felt like we have a good team, but like it was the right time to be there. So all of that stuff perfect for the reason why I went to Tennessee. Yep.
You muted, bro.
Sorry about that. I said I kind of vaguely remember that process because I was I think I was like 7th, 8th grade. Hold on. Let's try this. Can you hear me now? Can y'all hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna mute you, T, while we talk, and then I'll bring you back. Yeah, I'm gonna bring you back up when you talk. Okay. It might be. I think it's feedback. But I said I vaguely remember the process at that time. Because I think I was like, I say seventh grade. I was like fifth, sixth grade. I can't remember. But I remember the high school days. And watching you played in, and the choice to go to Tennessee. I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit to your junior and your senior year. You got to sit behind Peyton Manning, who everybody knows, the legend of Peyton Manning. You got to sit by him, and when you got your chance to step up, you pretty much had this. I'm not gonna say the exact same team, but you had a lot of the same weapons. What made that team so special in '98? And when did you guys realize that this was going to be a special year?
I think what made that team different was the camaraderie we started building even the year before, when we beat Auburn in the SEC championship, and then Peyton was injured, and we were getting ready to play Nebraska in the Orange Bowl, and I had a lot of chance to practice with the number one offense and with the number one defense at practice, and pretty much for close to a month of practice, Peyton didn't practice, and I was the one practicing. So I had a chance to build my confidence in working with the one team, with the starters, and they got a chance to see what I would look like playing with the starters. And we go into the game, Peyton started the game. We didn't win the game. I got thrown into the game late in the fourth quarter and went down to a team down for a touchdown, threw a touchdown pass, and converted a 2-point conversion on a touchdown pass. And that gave everybody a little bit of like hope, I guess you will, or just like belief in me that even though we were different in our style of play, that they had confidence in my ability to lead the team. And so that kind of led into the off-season program. We just came together hard. We lost not only Peyton, but we lost Leonard Little, we lost Terry Fair, we lost Marcus Nash, and we lost the guys onto the NFL draft in that class. And so we just knew we had to replace a lot of guys, outside of and I really just focused on the team. I really didn't focus on the fact that I was replacing Peyton. It was more about being prepared to play. It was finally my turn. I had waited 2 years, and there's no way to substitute at quarterback for playing than to play. It was really like my first time playing for real. So I was more focusing on that than anything else. I think our team just came together, man. The difference was how close our team became in the offseason. And us believing in each other, offense, defense believing in offense, special teams was good, we're confident. And we really just felt like if we just focus on a week at a time, that we can be pretty good, we can beat these teams. We didn't think national championship at the time. We just figured that we could beat pretty much anybody on our schedule. And that's pretty much how it played out. But we really did take it, 1 week at a time during the year.
I know you said you really didn't think about replacing Peyton, but I know most people don't want to be the guy to replace the guy. As much of fan favorite as he was, Heisman Trophy finalist and all that. Did you feel any pressure playing behind him, and did you feel like you had to kind of live up to the same standard of play that he had?
Not really. I knew that we were different, and he played 4 years. It's hard to go anything that I only had 2 more years left of eligibility. Like I knew numbers wise, passing yards, I was not able to get that. Touchdowns, you don't get that. Like what he did in 4 years, it's hard to think that you can do it in 2 years. So I wasn't really thinking about stats, and really, I wasn't thinking about the magnitude of playing behind him. I was like, we were just so different that it would be hard to compare us to anyway. And that I just would be myself and play the game that I played the way that I played it. Because I felt like I had enough excitement about my game and enough stuff in my trick bag that people were going to enjoy me play just like they enjoy watching him play. So it wasn't like a me versus him or it wasn't much focus on replacing him at all, honestly. It was more just team. It's about me being prepared. So when you focus on those things, it's not much pressure at all. And you can hear outside noise about it, what the media was saying and all that. But I never really paid attention to the media anyway. And so that didn't add on anything. I was just focusing on myself, man, team. Really.
Yeah. So moving on from your college career, you move on, you play in the NFL, then you move on to coaching. That transition from being a player to a coach, what was that like? And at what point did you say, okay, I think it's time for me to, transition?
Yeah, so before I actually stopped playing, about 3 years before I really retired, I wanted to stop because it wasn't the way I wanted to play football. Like, for me, it was all about winning. It was all about helping the team. It was all about having a chance to play. And once I got drafted, in the 5th round. I really didn't want to show up because I knew that meant I basically was like, you're someone who should be a first, second round pick, and you end up going to the ground. What does that mean? You don't get a chance to start, and never really get a chance to play unless someone's injured. Cordero Stewart had a new contract with Steelers, so I knew I wasn't going to beat him out too. Without having a real true petition, that's why I play the game to compete. I play the game to help. And so every year that I was like a backup to 3, it was just taking the love out of the game for me out of it. So I started having my mind focused on my coaching career or what I was going to do next, even while I was in. And so the blessing for me as a player was the coordinator and the quarterback coaches I got a chance to play for. So a lot of those guys taught me a lot. I learned a lot. Got a chance to play multiple different types of systems. And my mind was kind of made up before I even realized that I wanted to coach. Because that was something I always wanted to do. And my first coaching job really was at Morehouse College, right out of retirement. I really hadn't even retired yet. I still was getting called from teams. But I decided to make a commitment to that team to coach them, coach the quarterbacks. And then the following 2 years, I coached high school football as a coordinator and quarterback coach. But I had started a company training quarterbacks privately in the Atlanta area. I was training kids like Cam Newton and all the Atlanta quarterbacks. Had a big time quarterback camp. We had like 400 kids camp. I was doing a lot of different things. Worked for Elite 11, the Nike Elite 11 quarterback camp. So I was going around the nation training quarterbacks, evaluating quarterbacks, all of that. And then I got an opportunity by Mike Locksley to coach at the University of New Mexico. And that's what kicked off, major college coaching was when I went to Albuquerque to coach at the University of New Mexico. 2009 was the season that I was there for. That's what really kind of took off major college, B1 college. And that's when I started seeing, like, okay, it's a different ball game, different team. How you got to communicate to players that's different. Being a player, and then also coming from the private sector, the high school sector, also college quarterbacks. There's a different way to do it. So I created, what I was going to be as just really based on the kind of coaches that I played for, and then the kind of coaches that I always wanted to have. I said that, I was going to be my coaching style based on those 2 things. The good from the coaches I had growing up, and the stuff that I felt like was missing. Like that was something I always felt was missing, especially when I got to the NFL, about how the position being coached, the guys' mind with my skill set, doing their quarterback, how we were being coached, and so I really just felt like there was a void needed, in that area in college football as well as in my case now pro football. So that's pretty much how I transitioned, man. I wanted to kind of remember what the good coaches said, how they coached us, how they made you feel when they coached you, and create my coaching style based on the good, but also being innovative, being creative, being ahead of the game with new tactics and new ideas, and bringing new things to the table to the game.
Right now, you coaching Mr. MVP, Lamar Jackson, multiple time MVP. Lamar Jackson. What's it like coaching somebody as dynamic and who can really change the game on any given play when he's got the ball in his hands?
Yeah, now Coach Lamar is unbelievable. He, first of all, just one of the best people you ever want to be around. Just a solid human being. Loves his teammates, loves competing, loves being, loves hard work, all the stuff that you want as a top player. He has those qualities, great leadership, all that stuff. But then he'll do something every day that you just like, wow. It's like hearing the stories of the NBA former players who played with Kobe. Those kind of stories. It was like something that they would do every day that you just like believe. And then the general public gets a chance to see it on game day, but this guy does stuff that just kind of goes, man, it's Lamar doing Lamar stuff. And so as this coach, man, it's my job to um, correct when it's time for correction, and all the stuff. But in the National Football League, especially the relationship that we have, it's more of a we're working together type relationship. It's not just me dictating him or telling him what to do all the time. It's more, hey, this is the play, this is the rules of it, this is how it goes. If you don't like it, change it to something else. Let's talk about why you changed it and go out there and do your thing. I'm there to assist him and motivate, share the system and changes and things of that nature. But he's so dynamic. He's so unique in the way he sees the game. He basically has like photographic type memory. Man, he remembers just about everything he's done. He remembers everything you say. He's a very, very highly skilled, very intelligent player. That is just a joy coaching him. I learned a lot from him, and we just share this relationship that gets the job done on game day.
Yeah, so I want to ask you about Coach Harbaugh because the culture that he's built in Baltimore, diverse coaching staff. At one point, the quarterback room was completely just a all black quarterback room. Y'all had all black quarterbacks, quarterbacking. I mean, the coach and everything. Just talk about what it's like to work with Coach Harbaugh and that staff.
Yeah, it's been a great run. John is one of the better, well, I definitely think a Hall of Fame head coach, but definitely one of the better head coaches as far as managing the team, managing the staff, motivating the team, motivating the staff, and keeping everybody just on the same page. Like it's just clear every day of what the job is. We keep it about football, right? And so I was hired initially there as a receiver coach. Another thing you see with John too is there's a lot of ingrown talent. Our D coordinator played for the Ravens and was on the staff before being the coordinator. Our special teams coordinator was on the staff as an assistant before being the coordinator. And so for me to get the opportunity to interview for the quarterback job after being the receiver coach for 2 years just kind of shows that he believes in ingrown talent. And so I really appreciate the opportunity to interview for the job or getting me the job to be the quarterback coach. But I've learned so much from being with John Harbaugh. Again, second generation head coach. He's learned so much from Jack, his father, over the years, his brother Jim, pretty much the whole family, whether it's in-laws or the Harbaugh side, coaching. So, just learned so much from a man, a great leader, but giving me the opportunity to build that room the way that we did. He trusts my talent evaluation of quarter, and we've done a good job over the years of keeping a really stable, not only starter, Lamar Jackson, but also the backups and guys like that do such an important job of getting our defense prepared throughout the
year. So you mentioned your son earlier, playing college ball now. As a guy who was the coach going into living rooms, recruiting kids, to being on the other side of that, and coaches coming to recruit your son, what was that process like being on the other side? And, you know, what advice were you able to give your son because you had inside scoop of, you know, how the game goes?
Yeah, that was just like what you said. Really, it was, hey, this is what that means when the coach says this. This is what should go on the unofficial, official, actual questions. But ultimately, at the end of the day, he has to make his choice. You know, I didn't tell him where to go. I didn't tell him what I would do. I just said pros, cons. You know, it was my old son Amari ended up, playing at Clemson. You know, he was drafted in the third round by the Green Bay Packers. So just going through that process with him, it was just one thing. And then going through the process with Caden was different because, Caden was more baseball than football. So Amari was football, all football. And then Caden was more baseball, and early on it was both sports. And then towards the end, it was more baseball than football. So he made up his decision. His mind played for the rest of Miami, but it was on a baseball scholarship. And so he that's what he wanted to do. And as a parent, you support what I want to do because it's his turn. And we have a relationship where he can ask me things, bounce questions off. We do the best we can to, support him in that way. But ultimately, the player, the young man makes up his decision, and now you got to go back to being dad, right? So I didn't get tough for other coaches. I could have sat in every room and just grilled them out, and it made it difficult. But now it wasn't really like that, man. We talked on the phone. I had my questions I wanted to ask. Knows you my son, right? You got a plan for him. It's on him to go in there and do his job and earn a spot and stay. So that's pretty much how I did it.
Okay, see, so you actually got a chance to work with some really good coaches that LSU fans are very familiar with, Ed Orgeron and also Lane Kiffin. What was it like to work with those guys who, differing mentalities and characteristics about them, but what was it like to work with those big personalities, I guess you could say?
Oh, yeah, man. Coach O, that's my guy, man. So, at USC, Coach O was one of those original, Pete Carroll holdovers, him and Lane. And so when I was hired in 2012, well, actually, let's go back before that. Before I went to New Mexico, I was just in the private training business when Lane became the head coach at Tennessee. And of course, he brought Coach O along, and I had a chance to talk to them about potentially joining the staff at that time. But I didn't take the job. They hired like Frank Wilson, somebody from Louisiana. And so they because of Coach O, he really wanted to recruit Louisiana. He knows how much talent is in the state of Louisiana. Obviously growing up there and all that. And so he went to USC with Lane. I joined in 2012, and I just had a chance to work with Coach O, man. Just learned so much from him in the recruiting world. The man got a book out, about recruiting. And you guys know at LSU, at USC, even at Ole Miss, at Tennessee, everywhere he went, they had stronger classes. And Coach O was the recruiting coordinator at USC. So I learned a whole lot, during that time. And then dealing with that personality. Coach O is like 10 Red Bulls a day, just working out, doing his thing. And then Lane is a different kind of personality, quiet, but interesting. Coach O was on the defensive side, Lane was on the offensive side. And Lane was like a genius in terms of conceptual designs of the call sheet on game day. They coach that call plays, whether it was Lane or Steve Sarkisian and all guys. But I was very fortunate to leave when Lane left and Sarkisian left to be the next coordinator at USC. After all two of those, Coach O and gave me the opportunity to play, helped me, gave me the opportunity to be the head coach. The offense coordinator when they were the head coaches. Man, it worked out, man. It was good. As far as personality-wise, they was all cool with me, man. We all share similar energy for the game. I like recruiting my tail off, like coaching with hot energy, having fun. I like the music being on. I like being wild sometimes, too, But I know when to get serious and when to focus and get to work as well. But I learned a lot from Lane, Sark, Ed, Coach O, all those guys, man. From recruiting one, that's the type of energy that you got to have, and being on top of everything, and relationship building, and the respect for the head coaches, the respect for the communities, the respect for the players and their families. All of them, man, from all those guys, but mainly Coach O. Coach O was my dude, man, in terms of recruiting and how he used to always say, man, hey, look, man, we're going to walk like Trojans, we're going to talk like Trojans, we're going to recruit like Trojans, we're going to win like Trojans, man. So, I brought that to LSU and got the national championship. I was really happy for him. Even though they beat my son, his team in the national championship, man.
All right, so you obviously coached in a different time in college football now than what it is now with the transfer portal, the NIL, and all that basically free agency that's in college sports right now. What would it be like for you to coach right now in college, and would you be interested in going back, or would you good where you at?
Yeah, I'm not against. I just love coaching. So for me, if the duty calls to go somewhere in college, great. If it's a better opportunity, if it's an opportunity that presents more leadership, more opportunity to lead and have a program of my own like that, then I'm always open for that. But mainly, I don't compare the two because it's the NFL is, you have ownership, the general manager, the head coach, and you have a process of evaluation and speaking your mind on the players and ranking them at your position. And then once the draft, it's kind of hands off for the coach. You don't really have much involvement at all. They take your opinion. They try to get on the same page with you as to what you see and how you're going to use the player on our team, how he'll fit in our offense or defense, and then you kind of step back. Whereas college, it's more relationship building. It's a lot more. It's a lot more emotional. It's a lot more personal when you're dealing with young people and their families and getting them to choose a college. And then once you getting them to stay, in the era of the portal, in the era of those guys being able to get past me, if I had to go back to college, I would treat it more like the NFL team as far as the process of acquiring the talent. But then, like college, in the sense of they're still young men, still need relationships, they still need mentorship, they still need strong men in their lives consistently as young men going through this process. So, but I'm not against it. I just would probably do it very similar. It's going to be interesting to see how Belichick treats the North Carolina situation because you're talking about a guy who has been in the pros and won multiple Super Bowls, and so his way works. And we know it works, and so it's going to be interesting to see how they spend money, how they allocate their money, how they acquire talent, and move it around to create a winner. So that's one place that I'm really keeping my eyes on because if you get interested to see how Bill and his staff manages that.
So T, there was, if I'm not mistaken, you were able to coach a wide receiver at the University of Kentucky named Randall Cobb. It's one of your guys that you had. What was it like? Because you mentioned that Amari was drafted by the Packers. What was it like to have one of the first guys you coached kind of mentor your son in the NFL?
Yeah, that was real cool, man. Because Randall from the Knoxville, Tennessee area, he's from Alcorn, Tennessee. So he knew of me when I played, all of that. And then Randall himself was a quarterback. So I had actually coached Randall at an Elite 11 camp when he was a high school quarterback. He came to one of our summer camps. So fast forward 2 years after, I got the opportunity now to be his coach, but at wide receiver. So the Kentucky staff had already had a decision to make in terms of asking Randall to wide out and some quarterback. We created some packages for him. Kind of like what you call Wildcat now. It was more like the Wildcat stuff, but he still had a chance to throw and do different things at quarterback. But he was a full wide out that got drafted second round to the Packers. And so I pushed for him, man. I pulled him. I was happy for him. And then fast forward a few years later, my son gets drafted there. And so at first I'm like, man, I was happy for it. But the second time I was like, man, does this mean that they drafted him to replace Randall? You know, I didn't know how to see that, you know, and I didn't know how the fan base would take it. And more or less how Aaron Rodgers would take it, you know. And so Mark was kind of thrown in a tough position because I don't know how that was looked at, you know, on the team, because I know how much Randall was loved. Randall treated Amari great, treated him like a big brother, and it was all positive between those two, happy for both of them.
After you left USC, you had an opportunity to go back to Tennessee and coach there for your alma mater. What was that like, going back there and getting the opportunity to coach for your school?
Yeah, coaching at Tennessee was cool, man. It was like going back home, you know, but it's different when you come back and coach than when you were there as a player. When you're as a player, you're like 17, 21 years old. You're like a kid, like you're still learning, you're single. You don't have no kids, you don't have no wife. You come back, you know, 40 years old, and now it's with kids and a wife, and, you know, totally different vibe, man. But the viewpoint was so strange. You know, it was two of the tougher years emotionally for me, because all you do is compare it to how it was when you were there, how it was when you were there. You know, not many of the people who were there when you were there still there. So although it was the same location, although it was the same college, it was a totally different place. Totally different place. And our head coach was somebody who played in Alabama, so that was weird. You know, and so, but Jeremy with people, as far as our staff wise, but it was tough on me emotionally. I didn't really know that I would respond that way until I left. You know, but it's hard, you know, going back to where you played, won national championship, and you're not the head coach, you're not the coordinator. You know, I was a receiver coach. And in hindsight, I never would have gone back. I didn't need to go back to Tennessee at that time. I felt like a good idea to take my family back and share some of the Tennessee experience with them. But I wasn't thinking of myself at the time in terms of how emotional it would be for me. And so when I left, I realized how heavy it was. It was really, really heavy. It took me some time to really kind of get over it. And so, but in hindsight, I probably wouldn't have gone back under those circumstances. But I did. So, but in terms of my coaching career, they kind of put that chapter to sleep, kind of put that chapter to bed. And I was able to move on in my career, move on in my life with my family after leaving Tennessee.
All right, T. I only have like one or two more for you. And I again thank you so much for coming on, talking with us. I want to ask you about you know, you mentioned leaving Tennessee and everything. You have a statue at Tennessee commemorating the 1998 season and everything. You also at one point held the record for most consecutive passes and completed passes in the SEC. What is it like to, you know, have all these things pop up, these accolades and stuff coming, you know, after your playing career, and to be able to share that with your family? Also, I don't want to forget Mobile Hall of Fame as well, Sports Hall of Fame. So, what is it like to have those accolades?
Man, it's just amazing. You know, I never thought when I started off playing, you know, 10 years old, never go across that. All this stuff would be the case. You know, just a kid doing what everybody was doing. And once we got to high school, I just wanted to get to the next level. Once I got to college, I just wanted to get to the next level. You never think ahead that you'll have that type of being shown back, you know. And so it's really special to look back, because what I represent with my statue really is the history of the African American quarterback, not only in the SEC, but also at the University of Tennessee. And if Curtis Holloway would have opened that door in the SEC and at the University of Tennessee, it would probably been very delayed for me to even want to go to Tennessee to be you know, revered in this kind of way. So Condrich, another guy from Alabama, he's from Huntsville, Alabama. chose to break the color barrier in the SEC at quarterback, and I was one that benefited from that. So knowing the whole history and then being a part of that, it just means more to me. It just me. I represent the guys before me, and I represent the guys who came behind me to play quarterback not only at Tennessee, but in the SEC, being the first African-American quarterback to win a national championship in the SEC. That means a lot to me. And so when Cam Newton came behind, and guys like that who came behind, it just brings even more special meaning to my position in the history of the time. And for the guys before and for after me, I'm just glad to be able to be represented.
I'm good, Pooh. Go ahead.
All right, T. Before we let you go, we have we got an NBA Finals tonight, Game 7. Who you got?
Man, I'm about to shock y'all here. I don't know what's going on in basketball. I don't know how much I watch basketball. All I know is that it's 3-3. And that Indiana is playing OKC, right? I think so. And then the MVP played for OKC, so I'm just going to take the team. The MVP, I don't know. I really don't watch basketball. I'm a football, baseball guy, man.
I was just about to say, I know your first love is baseball. I was going to say, I know you would know that one.
Yeah.
Well, T, again, thank you so much for coming on. We'll have to get you back again sometime and talk when we get closer. Well, next season, because I know you're about to get real busy. So, again, thank you. Uh-oh. What'd you say?
Man. I appreciate y'all.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was T. Martin. Thank you again for coming on. Man, I truly learned some things. I thought I knew a lot about T. I ain't know a lot. I ain't know enough. I'll say it like that. I know the audio was kind of choppy at times, but
yeah, it's all good, man.
It's all good. Y'all got the gist of it. Man. Speaking of, man, NBA Finals tonight.
Toss up, bro.
I'm with Tito. I think OKC gonna get it done. They 36-3 at home. Or was it 36-3, 39-3, something like that? I forgot what it was. 39-3.
I think OKC should win it, but if it's close late, Halliburton been magic.
Yeah. That ain't the only exciting NBA news we got as we get ready to get up out of here. It's been reported Phoenix Suns traded Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets for was it Green, Dylan Brooks, and five second-round picks.
Yeah, I mean, second-round picks ain't really nothing though. So, they're not really that valuable in NBA terms. But I'm surprised that was enough to get Durant. I know Jalen Green is seen as an up-and-coming star or whatever, but you didn't get Cam Whitmore. You didn't get your pick back. So I just thought that they might could have got more, but I'd be interested to see what Houston looks like because they still got some pieces around Durant with Thompson, Jabari Smith, Sengun, and Fred VanVleet as a starting five with Tari Eason and some other pieces off the bench. So we'll see. We'll see if they got a little more pressure to win it all now.
Yeah. Man, that's all I got before we get ready to get up out of here. I think that's pretty much it as far as sports world right now. We'll talk College World Series in about about 15 minutes. So that's all we got, man. Let's go ahead and we can get up out of here. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you again, T. Martin, for coming on and talking with us. And where is it? I don't even see the theme music, bro. I don't know. But we'll go ahead and get up out of here. See y'all later on this week. Next week, we'll see. Tune in like that. We out.